Good afternoon. It's Friday, July 31, the last day of July. I'm Mai Rodriguez. For your midday report, we'll be giving you the stories shaping the nation at this hour. In the headlines, workers' groups condemn the suspension of the wage hike in the NCR and urge the Labor Department to act on the court's status quo ante order. Senator Win Gatchalian agrees that distribution utilities should shoulder system losses as consumers may have already paid 45 billion pesos in charges. Congressman Franz Pumaren seeks criminal charges against those allegedly involved in the MPBL game manipulation. And SB 19 etches its name in history as the first Filipino act to perform at Lollapalooza. Labor groups are not happy with the court's order suspending the implementation of the 85 peso increase in the daily minimum wage for workers in the private sector in the National Capital Region. Nasa linya si John Riz Calata para sa detalye. John Riz, ano ang sabi pa nila?
Yes, may mariing kinondena ng iba't ibang grupo ng manggagawa ang inilabas na status quo ante order ng Pasig City Regional Trial Court na nagsuspende sa implementasyon ng 85 pesos na aumento sa sahod sa National Capital Region. Ang petisyon naman para sa hinihinging temporary restraining order ay isinampa ng mga kumpanyang Redicon, Trading and Construction Corporation at R2 Builders Incorporated na inilarawan ng mga Trade Union Congress of the Philippines bilang isang malinaw na anyo ng kasakiman ng mga korporasyon. Iginiit ng koalisyong nagkaisa na ang kautusan ng korte ay nagpapakita ng gross ignorance of the law dahil malinaw umanong ipinagbawal sa Article 126 ng Labor Code ang paglalabas ng TRO laban sa mga desisyon ng Regional Wage Boards. Binatikos din ng grupong sentro si Labor Secretary Francis Tolentino dahil sa tila pagtatanggol nito sa legalidad ng TRO sa halip na protektahan ng aumento na matagal nang hinihintay ng mga manggagawa. Nanawagan ng kilosang Mayo 1 at iba pang labor advocates na agarang ibasura ang petisyon at ipatupad ang dagdag sahod para maibsan ang hirap na dulot ng patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin. Ang nasabing aumento sa ilalim ng Wage Order number 27 ay dapat magbibigay ng 60 pesos sa unang tranche noong July 25 at karagdagang 25 pesos sa susunod na taon. Ngunit ito'y naunsyami dahil sa inilabas na kautusan ng korte. Balik sa iyo, Mai.
John Riz, hanggang kailan ba effective ang TRO na inilabas ng Pasig RTC kaugnay ng Wage Order number 27?
May batay sa kautusan ng korte, ang TRO ay epektibo hanggang sa August 13. Effective ito sa loob ng 20 araw mula noong ilabas ang kautusan ng Executive Judge ng RTC ng Pasig City noong July 4, 2006. Samantala, nakatakda ang pagdinig para sa writ of preliminary injunction sa August 3, alas 9 ng umaga. May?
Ano ngayon ang gagawing hakbang ng mga progresibong grupo dahil sa naging desisyon ng korte?
May sa bahagi ng kilosang Mayo 1 o KMU, magsasagawa raw sila ng all leaders meeting. Basically, gagawa raw sila ng legal action. Magkakasa rin daw sila ng kilos protesta pero sa ngayon hindi pa tukoy kung kailan at saan ito gagawin. May?
Maraming salamat, John Riz Calata, nag-uulat. Kamanggagawa Party List Representative Eli San Fernando suspects pressure from the government and big businesses may have influenced the Pasig RTC's decision to suspend the wage hike. On BNC's memo, he asserts that a court cannot issue an injunction against proceedings of the Regional Wage Board, adding that they're prepared to challenge it.
Anong ibig niyo sabihin? Akala ko naman you meant Malacanang. Ang ibig po ninyo sabihin, opo, yung sinasabi po ninyo may pressure galing sa taas yung mga malalaking kumpanya.
Both sa malalaking kumpanya, Ma'am Corina, pati sa Malacanang. We all know that the executive secretary and the economic managers are firmly opposed to any wage hike.
Ganun po ba yun? Oo.
Yeah. So tingin ho namin, merong politics at play dito.
The president of the Federation of Free Workers urges Labor Secretary Francis Tolentino to take action against the wage suspension. On BNC's memo, Attorney Sunny Matula said that if the Labor Secretary fails to do so, then they will have no other choice but to intervene. He adds that under Article 126 of the Labor Code, regular trial courts lack jurisdiction over the implementation of wage orders.
Palagay ko ay we urge the Secretary of Labor to file a motion na i-left yung TRO sapagkat walang jurisdiction ang korte at kung hindi man ay mag-i-intervene kami bilang mga manggagawa para i-convince ang korte na i-dismiss yung petition for declaratory relief.
Senate President Win Gatchalian agrees system losses should not be shouldered by consumers. He says they could have paid more than what the Energy Regulatory Commission reported. Hanati has the full story.
Filipino power consumers may have paid as much as 45 billion pesos in system loss charges last year. That's the estimate of Senate President Win Gatchalian after the Energy Regulatory Commission disclosed that Meralco alone collected about 30 billion in system loss charges in 2025. The figure emerged during the Senate's review of electricity charges as lawmakers push to remove system loss charges from consumers' monthly bills. The estimate reached about 45 billion. As the ERC said, the 30 billion pesos came from Meralco alone, which serves more than 70% of the country's electricity market. Gatchalian then estimated that adding the collections of electric cooperatives, or ECs, could bring the total system loss charges paid by consumers nationwide to around 45 billion. System loss is the cost of electricity that never reaches customers. It includes technical losses, such as power lost while traveling through transmission and distribution lines. It also includes non-technical losses, such as electricity theft, illegal connections, and meter tampering. Under current laws, part of those losses can be passed on to consumers through their monthly electricity bills. For Gatchalian, that should change.
I think that 45 can be absorbed by the distribution utilities. They just need to be efficient. Kaya nga nung narinig ko nga yung mga ibang EC na dapat VAT zero rating, pag nag-VAT zero rating tayo, paano tayo magpapatayo ng eskwelahan? No? Wala na tayo makukolektang buwis. Di ba? Paano tayo magpapatayo ng tulay, kalsada? No? Kung lahat tatanggalan natin ng buwis, wala na tayong panggastos sa social services natin.
Gatchalian also pointed to a bigger issue. About 60% of every electricity bill goes to generation charges, which include fuel costs passed on to consumers. That is why he wants the ERC to audit those pass-through charges to ensure consumers were not overcharged. The ERC said there's already a refund mechanism if an audit finds that utilities or generation companies collected more than they were allowed to recover. In such cases, the Commission said it can order the excess collection to be returned to consumers. With about 8 bills seeking to remove system loss charges now pending in the Senate, Gatchalian called on the DOE and ERC to come prepared with implementation plans as lawmakers fast-track deliberations on the proposals. Hannah Tia, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Senator Rizo Ontiveros has filed a bill seeking to impose a price cap on electricity rates during energy emergencies and calamities. Senate Bill number 2361 allows the president to set a ceiling on power prices to protect consumers from sudden rate hikes and bill shock. Ontiveros says the executive should have the authority to control spikes in power costs and ensure that electricity remains affordable for Filipino families. The proposed measure also includes a 90-day moratorium on power disconnections and deferred payment options for residential consumers and micro, small, and medium enterprises during emergencies. She says electricity is an essential service and consumers should not be forced to bear uncontrolled power rate increases during times of crisis. Millions of Filipino taxpayers could soon see changes in their tax obligations. On BNC's On Point, House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Miro Kimbo says around 4 million more Filipinos may benefit from President Bongbong Marcos's proposal to increase the income tax exemption threshold to 350,000 pesos. He adds that they are looking to roll out the measure by January next year.
So we're hoping to be able to finish by August. So the entire month of August will be dedicated to this, so that the timeline is by January 1, the edict of the president will already happen. Meaning, for the calendar year, people will start receiving on January 16 or 15 better wages. Well, if it can be earlier, why not? But I think for tax administration purposes, it is always best to start at the start of the year.
The House of Representatives passed over 100 bills, including some of the priority measures during the 20th Congress. It is also set to tackle the proposed budget for next year soon. May live report si Isaiah Mirafuentes mula sa Isabela. Isaiah, kailan daw sisimulan ang budget hearing?
May inaasahan nga natin na magsisimula ang budget hearing sa House of Representatives ng sa susunod na buwan o posible sa Setyembre. Pero base May sa datos ng House of Representatives, 163 bills ang kanilang naipasa sa first regular session ng 20th Congress at kabilang nga rito yung 26 LEDAC bills. Pero may aminado mismo ang Kamara na sa dami naman ang pinag-uusapan nila sa plenaryo ng Kamara ay hindi ito lahat naiintindihan ng taong bayan.
Usually kasi pag nagdi-discuss ng bill, nasa house lang di ba? Doon lang talaga nadi-discuss Pero hindi pa nangyayari yung kami mismo yung pupunta and then we discuss things over with the people.
Inaasang sisimula na sa susunod na buwan o sa Setyembre ang budget hearing ng House of Representatives para sa 2027 budget. Ayon mismo kay House Speaker Boji D, kanilang pakikinggan ang publiko kung anong mahalagang batas o ahensya ang nangangailangan ng mataas na pondo. Kabilang sa mga estratehiya ng Kamara ay ang tao sa taong pakikipag-usap. Ngayong araw ang launching ng Ledges Here, Bawat Batas Mahalaga program na kung saan planong ikutin ng Kamara ang buong bansa para maipaliwanag ang mga batas at mga nakabinbin pang panukala. Ayon mismo kay House Secretary General Cheloy Garafil, aminado sila na kasalukuyang hamon sa bansa yung kung paano naunawaan ng publiko ang batas at ang mga nakabinbin na panukala. Mahalagaan niya ang programa na kanilang sinimulan ngayong araw para maipaunawa sa taong bayan ang nilalaman ng mga batas at malaman rin ng Kamara kung ano ang mga pangangailangan ng publiko na kanilang magagamit sa mga batas na ipapasa nila sa hinaharap. May dito nga sa Itiaga Isabela nilaunch ang Ledges Here, Bawat Batas Mahalaga program na kung saan nga target ng Kamara na magawa ito sa lahat ng lugar at lalawigan sa bansa. Inaasahan nga may nasusundan na ito ay gagawin ito sa Butuan City sa Agusan. Samantala may kanina bago tayo umere nakausap ko mismo si House Speaker Boji D at natanong ko kung kumusta na yung mga pangako ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. noong SONA. Kabilang na nga dyan yung tax exemption at yung pagtatapyas ng system law sa presyo ng kuryente. May inamin mismo ni House Speaker D na matagal-tagal pa bago ito maramdaman ng publiko dahil nga matagal-tagal rin nila itong pag-uusapan nung magkakaroon sila ng diskusyon sa House of Representatives. Pero ayon mismo kay Dimay, sisikapin nila na maramdaman na ito agad ng taong bayan. Samantala, kaugnay naman sa budget, nangako rin si Speaker D na magkakaroon sila ng mga safety measures upang maiwasan na nga yung mga anomalya sa budget. Mai.
Maraming salamat, Isaiah Mirafuentes, live mula sa Isabela. Vice President Sara Duterte is facing an impeachment trial, but it does not stop anyone from filing a possible ethics case against her as a lawyer. That's what the former president of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines told BNC's abogado in connection with her grave threats against the first couple. Attorney Domingo Cayosa says the higher the position one holds, the higher standard of conduct must be observed.
I think so. It's the same reasoning. You're not exempted because you're the vice president or the congressman. And the pendency of an impeachment case does not prevent any ethics case against any lawyer, whoever you may be. You may be the president, the vice president, or congressman, or senator, or anybody else, from proceeding. Why? Because it's a totally different case. You have a totally different authority that will decide on the merits of your case.
The Public Works Department continues its flood mitigation efforts in parts of Manila. DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon inspected drainage declogging operations along Taft Avenue as the agency eyes a long-term solution to recurring flooding in the area. Micah Razon is on the line for the details. Micah, how did the inspection go?
My second Manila inspection was conducted by DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon this morning. This time, Dizon visited the drainage declogging operations being carried out by DPWH personnel along Taft Avenue, saying this is a temporary measure to help ease flooding in the area. He added that the agency currently lacks the necessary budget this year but plans to request funding for the project next year.
Ang talagang solusyon dito, kung ano yung ginawa natin sa Santa Isabel, na pinagaki natin yung mga drainage, yun din ang gagawin natin dito. Humingi tayo ng pondo under the 2027 budget. Buong Taft Avenue, both sides, yung natitira, mga nasa 1.5 billion ang hiningi natin dito.
The proposed project will cover both the southbound and northbound lanes of Taft Avenue from Pasay to Ayala Bridge. According to Dizon, this solution has already been proven effective after the same approach was implemented in Santa Isabel, where residents allegedly reported that flood waters which used to reach knee level now subside more quickly.
Kung gagawin natin yun dito din sa ibang parte ng Taft Avenue, kagaya dito sa Gasal, naniniwala tayo na ganun din ang magiging epekto noon.
Dizon, however, asked for the public's understanding as the drainage improvement works are expected to cause temporary traffic disruption. However, he assured commuters, motorists, and students that the project will provide a long-term solution to flooding in the area. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Micah Razon reporting. Up next, a small cut in fuel prices is seen next week after the 2 consecutive jumbo oil price hikes the past 2 weeks. The details and other stories after the break. Stay tuned to Midday Report. You're back on Midday Report. Various law enforcement agencies gather in the Visayas to address potential security threats. Francis Folve is reporting live from Malay, Aklan. Hi, Kiko. What's the latest?
Yes, my PNP Chief Police General Jose Melenco Navcapas Jr. led the closing ceremony of the IED or the Improvised Explosive Devices Threat and Security Symposium here in Malay, Aklan. The PNP chief stressed the need to closely monitor evolving tactics of the individuals and groups that threaten peace and order, saying law enforcement must remain adaptive and proactive. Nartates also said the initiative supports broader efforts to enhance security in key tourist destinations like here in Boracay. The symposium reinforced intelligence coordination and operational readiness in addressing potential security threats, and the activity was participated by 55 personnel from the PNP, AFP, BFP, and the Coast Guard, which aims to further strengthen regional ties among law enforcement and security groups. The event was organized by the Southeast Asian International Command and the Australian Federal Police with the FBI, whose insights on strengthening security, collaboration, and public safety inspired the participants and reinforced their shared commitment to addressing evolving threats. Throughout the symposium, authorities was trained to properly identify improvised explosive devices, or the IEDs, conduct tracking and perform evidence analysis, and most importantly, it intends to speed up the resolution of the IED-related cases and ensure that those responsible are brought to justice. Mai?
Francis, the symposium is timely, as we recently have reports that there were IEDs at the DOJ and also near the Senate complex. Did the PNP chief give any update on those cases?
Yes, my PNP Chief Nartates mentioned that twice in his speech this morning at sabi niya, Mai, ay inutusan niya ang lahat ng law enforcement group, lalo na timely nga itong pagsasanay na ito para matukoy at mahanap na agad itong mga suspect dito nga sa nangyari dyan sa may DOJ at sa may Senate complex nitong kasabay ng SONA ng Pangulo nitong Lunes. At alam mo, may sabi pa sa atin, baka daw masorpresa na lamang ang publiko because they might be able to do the arrest tomorrow or in the coming days. Mai?
Maraming salamat, Francis Folve, reporting live from Malay in Aklan. The push for accountability over alleged war crimes in Myanmar reaches the Philippine justice system as lawyers representing victims ask the Department of Justice to act on a complaint filed more than 2 years ago. Joan Manalo is on the phone for more. Hi, Joan. What's the latest?
My lawyers representing victims of war crimes in Myanmar have filed a second motion to resolve before the Department of Justice, urging the DOJ to act on the complaint affidavit filed in 2023 against members of the Myanmar junta for alleged war crimes. Present during today's filing were legal counsels Attorney Romel Bagares and Attorney Gilbert Andres, together with Myanmar human rights activist Salaiza Ukling. The complainants explained that they filed a case in the Philippines because they believe the country has jurisdiction over Republic Act 9851 or the Philippine Act on Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide, and Other Crimes Against Humanity. Attorney Andres said that under the IHL Act, the Philippines may exercise universal jurisdiction over international crimes, including war crimes. He added that Section 17 of the RA 9851 was also the provision invoked by the Philippine government in implementing the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant against former President Rodrigo Duterte, as well as in the implementation of the ICC warrant against Senator Bato de la Rosa. With this, the complainants said they are invoking the same provision to assert the Philippines' universal jurisdiction over the alleged war crimes committed in Myanmar. The complainants stressed that Shin State, the only majority Christian state in Myanmar, has been specifically targeted by the military junta. Hence, they hope that the Philippines will demonstrate that there is no place for impunity for international crimes, not only in Myanmar but also across Southeast Asia. They claim that churches have been bombed, shelled, and destroyed, while pastors and other Christians have also been killed. They added that should the agency continue to take no action, they are prepared to elevate the matter to the Court of Appeals to seek the appropriate legal remedy. The group also called on the DOJ and the Philippine government to stand in solidarity with the people of Chin State, hold the Myanmar junta accountable, and uphold international criminal justice under RA 9851. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Joan Manalo, reporting. The government's peace agenda remains a priority as Presidential Peace Advisor Secretary Mel Senen Sarmiento marks his first 100 days in office. Sarmiento says the administration is working to complete its remaining commitments under signed peace agreements and strengthen peace and development efforts nationwide. Lade Kabagani is on the phone for more. Lade, go ahead.
Yes, one of the major milestones in the upcoming signing of a completion document with the Cordillera Budong administration, Cordillera People's Liberation Army, formally closing a peace process that began with the 1986 Mount Dada Peace Accord. Sarmiento said the document will mark the transition from implementing peace agreements to sustaining long-term peace and development in Cordillera. He also highlighted the government's peace initiatives, including 700 million pesos worth of road, bridge, and infrastructure projects under the Pamana program, as well as 1.5 billion pesos in European Union-funded development support, reintegration programs for former combatants, and digital reforms to improve transparency and accountability in the governments. That's the latest here, Mai.
Lade, what did Secretary Sarmiento say is his next priority after his first 100 days?
Mai Sarmiento said the government will continue implementing the remaining deliverables under all signed peace agreements while expanding peace development and reintegration programs to benefit more communities nationwide. Mai?
Lade, you mentioned the government is set to sign a completion document with the CBA-CPLA. Do we have a time frame for this?
Yes, my Secretary Sarmiento did not provide a specific timeline. However, he said a draft of the completion agreement has already been prepared. According to him, only minor deliverables remain, mostly involving educational programs. He added the funding for this will be included in the OPAPRO's proposed budget request. Mike?
Thank you, Lade Kabagani reporting. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. extends the 7-year term limit of 4Ps beneficiaries. Social Welfare Spokesperson, Assistant Secretary Irene Dumlao, tells BNC's The Spokes the government must ensure beneficiaries are already self-sufficient before graduating from the program.
Just recently, the President signed Executive Order 120 extending the 7-year term limit of our 4Ps beneficiaries. Doon kasi sa batas nakalagay na 7 years lang mananatili ang isang 4Ps beneficiary sa programa. Pero in-extend po yan ng President at sinabi kinakailangan i-strengthen natin yung case management. Kasi hindi sapat talaga yung 7 years.
So
no?
to how long?
Well, that will depend on the result of the social welfare and development indicators.
Okay.
Kinakailangan kasi makita mag-level 3 yung pong 4Ps beneficiaries para makapag-exit na sa programa. Kaya pag nasa level 1 ka pa o survival or level 2 yung subsistence level, hindi pa iyon sapat no, para mag-graduate ka even if you've reached already 7 years.
After a wave of jumbo increases, motorists may get a little relief at the pump next week as fuel prices are expected to drop ever so slightly. Industry sources estimate diesel prices could go down by 50 centavos to 1 peso per liter, while gasoline prices may drop by 1 peso to 1 peso and 50 centavos. The possible small rollback follows movements in the global oil market, where prices eased earlier this week amid hopes of improved supply conditions. However, this is only a fraction of the sharp hikes motorists absorbed over the past 2 weeks, when diesel prices jumped by a total of 18 pesos per liter and gasoline by more than 10 pesos. However, continuing tensions in the Middle East and supply risks from the region have kept oil prices volatile. The Bangko Sentral projects July inflation to range between 5.6 and 6.6% amid continuing economic uncertainties. The BSP says higher petroleum prices, electricity rates, fish prices, and the weakening of the peso could drive inflation higher. These pressures may be offset by lower prices of key food items, including rice, meat, vegetables, and fruits. The central bank says it will continue monitoring inflation, growth prospects, and developments in the Middle East for their economic impact. The president of the Philippine Amalgamated Supermarkets Association, Stephen Cua, says supermarkets are seeking support from their suppliers amid rising operational costs. On BNC's At the Forefront, he laments that tensions in the Middle East have a damaging effect on retailers. He says rising oil prices, power rates, and the exchange rate are driving up the cost of raw materials, leading to higher prices.
Damaging effect, no? You see what's happening: increase in oil prices, power rates, salary, which was withheld, no? Otherwise, nagtaas na, and the exchange rate. So it's going to affect raw materials of our suppliers, and eventually prices will have to go up.
Kua adds that business confidence could be boosted if the government strengthens its moral substance and political will. Coming up, Spain deploys its military as thousands of migrants cross from Morocco into its enclave Ceuta. That and more world news, plus the latest in sports and the weather when we return. Stay tuned to Midday Report. Iran says it launched missile strikes on U.S. military bases in Kuwait and Jordan. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard says the attacks were in retaliation for U.S. airstrikes on Iran earlier in the day. Iran claims the U.S. strike killed 3 members of a family, including a child, on Keshum Island. The IRGC also claims its retaliatory strikes damaged facilities at the U.S. base in Kuwait and destroyed 3 F-35 fighter jets at a base in Jordan. Spain will deploy its military to Ceuta after thousands of migrants crossed into the Spanish territory from Morocco. At least 9 people died during the mass crossing, according to Spanish authorities. The government says troops will help police secure the border and restore order. Spain and Morocco say they are working together to stop illegal crossings and return those who entered Ceuta, a Spanish enclave in North Africa. It was not immediately clear what caused the sudden surge in migrant crossings. Locals urged the Spanish Prime Minister to act as civil guard and to deploy Navy boats in nearby waters.
It's a disgrace, honestly. The only solution I see is for Spain to do what Donald Trump does and start deporting people. Above all, it has to deploy the Navy at the border to stop anyone from getting through. Because if this was a disgrace in 2021, now it's even worse. Please, Sanchez, do something. If not, resign.
Rescue operations continue at a collapsed shopping mall in Kumamoto, Japan, 3 days after a magnitude 7.1 earthquake struck the region. The death toll has risen to 34, according to the Kumamoto Prefecture government. Most of the victims were found at a paper mill and the collapsed Aeon shopping mall, where a possible gas explosion was reported. Authorities say that one death in the prefecture was still being investigated to determine whether they were linked to the earthquake. The World Cup is not for sale. That was UEFA's strong message as it threatened to boycott future FIFA tournaments if FIFA allows private investors to buy stakes in its competitions. Europe's 55 football associations unanimously rejected the plan, saying the World Cup should not be treated as an investment. CONCACAF, which represents North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, also opposed the proposal. FIFA says it is not selling football and that the plan is meant to raise funds to support the development of the sport worldwide. The proposal will be presented to FIFA's member associations and council for a final decision. Filipino tennis ace Alex Eala's strong run in Washington is driving strong fan interest at the Mubadala DC Open. Let's hear more from Mark Patriarca.
Alex Eala is not just winning matches at the Mubadala DC Open. The Filipina tennis star is also emerging as one of the tournament's biggest draws. Tournament owner Mark Ain revealed that since Eala committed to play in Washington, 80% of the phone calls and emails the event received about tickets were asking when the Filipina star would play. The surge in interest has followed Eala onto the court, with Filipino fans turning out in force during her Washington debut, and Eala has given them plenty to celebrate. The world number 28 opened her campaign with a comeback win over China's Sheng Qinwen. She followed that by dethroning defending champion Leylah Fernandez, 6-2, 7-6 to reach the quarterfinals. After the match, Eala was told about the massive demand from fans looking to watch her play.
I think it's incredible. Of course, Washington DC is a really big event, so a really popular event. So I mean, it makes me feel love. What can I say? And it makes it more exciting to play here.
The scenes in Washington have become familiar throughout Eala's rise on the WTA Tour. Filipino communities have turned out to support her at tournaments around the world as she continues to break new ground for Philippine tennis. Eala said she understands that her journey now represents more than her results on the court, as the first Filipina to reach this level of the sport. Eala's next challenge comes against second seed Elina Svitolina of Ukraine. The two already have recent history after Eala beat Svitolina in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4 in the quarterfinals of the Berlin Open last month. Eala enters the match after back-to-back wins over Zheng and defending champion Fernandez in Washington. Eala and Svitolina will meet in the Mubadala DC Open quarterfinals on Saturday, Manila time in Washington, D.C. Mark Patriarca, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The calls to hold accountable those behind the alleged MPBL game manipulation scandal are growing louder as the Games and Amusements Board expands its investigation. Congressman Franz Pumaren says lifetime bans alone are not enough. Here's the exclusive report of Zeus Valdez.
Congressman Franz Pumaren is calling for criminal charges against everyone involved in the alleged MPBL game manipulation controversy. In an exclusive interview with Abante Sports Now, the veteran coach said the investigation should not stop with the players, insisting that coaches, team officials, management, and even franchise owners should also be held accountable if they played a role in the alleged scheme. The lawmakers said the MPBL's decision to expel the Bacolod Mascara franchise and impose lifetime ban should only be the beginning.
Yung mga players, hindi magagalaw yan without the approval of their superior. Sino ba yun? Which is yung coach nila. Yung coach nila, bakit gagalaw na ganon? Siyempre may approval din ng management yun.
He believes authorities must determine who ordered, tolerated, or benefited from the alleged game manipulation, while also strengthening the league's safeguards through stricter oversight and mandatory anti-game fixing education.
Akala nila tapos na yung nila, nakalusot sila, tinanggal sila, lifetime ban sa MPBL or what. But we have to find yung pinaka-root cause nito.
Meanwhile, the Games and Amusements Board has confirmed that its investigation is continuing to expand. GOB Chairman Francisco Rivera said the agency has already found sufficient basis to open a formal probe, and after being informed of Bacolod's earlier 129-45 loss to Abra, he said that game will now also be reviewed as part of the investigation.
We haven't looked at that previous game, the one that you mentioned. But now that you mentioned it, we'll take a look also at that game.
The GAV said the investigation remains ongoing, with authorities expected to determine whether further administrative sanctions or criminal charges are warranted. Zeus Valdez, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Ultra-billionario heir Jacob Ang has confirmed he's driving a Ferrari supercar that recently turned heads on Metro Manila roads. And this may be a sneak peek of what's coming soon for Ferrari customers in the Philippines. Our mobility correspondent, G. Baroga, has this story.
Local car nuts are again rejoicing. Another supercar was spotted on the streets of Manila, the Ferrari 849 Testarossa. But it was first seen in an Instagram story shared by ultra-billionario heir Jacob Ang, who's leading Velocita Motors, the official distributor of Ferrari in the Philippines. On the sidelines of Porsche Philippines' 30th anniversary celebration, Jacob confirmed to BNC Mobility that he's been driving the car. He said it's a demo unit, proving the importance of testing and knowing the car that you offer firsthand. Ferrari Philippines says the model heralds a new generation of plug-in hybrid spiders, combining high performance with the thrill of open-top driving. For motoring enthusiast Brian Ang, its arrival upgrades the car culture in the Philippines.
This is the newest and most coveted model of the Ferrari range. And this is the progression of all those 296 GTB and GTS owners. This will be the high-end, mid-engine car of Ferrari before you talk about yung mga limited editions that are not offered to the general customer base of Ferrari.
Brian says he's also seeing more younger Filipinos take an interest in the car scene, not just in the new and rare cars, but also in classic models. He believes that's helping grow the country's car culture regardless of the price points. Some question seeing million-peso supercars on local roads, while many Filipinos continue to face economic challenges. Brian explains this is a snapshot of the real gap between income and lifestyle of Filipinos.
You have the upper 1% enjoying the best of the best when it comes to not only supercars but in lifestyle as well. And then you have the struggling lower class who form the majority of the population. And that is the reality in the Philippines, just like in any progressing country.
In a text message, Ferrari Philippines confirms the 849 Testarossa is part of their lineup. Customers can now place an order and customize the unit to their preferences. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
We're monitoring a low-pressure area east of southeastern Luzon. Pag-asa says this still has a low chance of developing into a tropical depression, but the trough or the tail of this LPA is expected to bring rains over parts of Bicol, most of the Visayas and eastern sections of Mindanao through the weekend. Checking the Visayas, cloudy with a high chance of rain, especially over eastern sections. Those in northern and eastern Samar should watch out for heavy rains. Same with Antique, Negros Oriental, and Bohol. Down south, the bulk of heavy rainfall should stay over northern Mindanao. Areas to watch are Caraga, the Davao region, South Cotabato, and Sarangani. These rains are still largely because of the trough or the tail of the LPA. Stay alert for possible flooding and landslides in low-lying and mountainous areas. Now for Luzon, we see bouts of heavy rains tonight over Ilocos, La Union, down to parts of central Luzon and Calabarzon, as well as Mindoro. But other parts, generally fair weather this weekend. That includes Metro Manila will just get localized rain showers and thunderstorms. But outside the country, we're also monitoring a monster typhoon. Super Typhoon Dolphin continues to make its way towards southwest Japan. But we're going to feel the monsoonal inflow from this typhoon in the coming week, particularly over eastern Visayas and the Bicol region with the enhanced habagat. That's how skies are shaping up. Remember to check Pag-asa's rainfall advisories in your location. Up next, Kim Soo-hyun reportedly cleared in the underage dating allegation involving the late actress Kim Se-ron. That and more entertainment stories when Midday Report returns. Stay with us. South Korean police have cleared actor Kim Soo-hyun of an underage dating allegation involving his past relationship with the late actress Kim Se-ron. Reports say authorities dropped the case due to lack of evidence. The complaint was filed after Kim Se-ron's family accused the actor of dating her while she was still a minor. A content creator also alleged that Kim Soo-hyun harassed the late actress. The actor denied the allegations. Kim Se-ron died by suicide in February last year. She was known for A Brand New Life and The Man from Nowhere. Diamonds, fashion, and star power dazzled the crowd at the Maddox Jewelry Iconic Fashion Show 2026. From veteran icons to today's biggest celebrities, the runway celebrated elegance and Filipino craftsmanship. We get a look from Sheila Salaysay.
40 celebrities lit up the runway at the Maddox Jewelry Iconic Fashion Show 2026, billed as the first and biggest star-studded diamond jewelry fashion show in the Philippines. Veteran BNC broadcaster Corina Sanchez Rojas officially opened the event, setting the stage for an evening of elegance, glamour, and Filipino craftsmanship. The runway was divided into 4 themed segments. The icons of forms and radiance featured real-life couples AJ Raval and Alger Abrenica, as well as Aubrey Miles and Troy Montero, together with other celebrities who opened the fashion spectacle. Next came the icons of brilliance and elegance, highlighting some of the country's well-known beauty icons, including Katrina Halili, Diana Zubiri, Katya Santos, Geneva Cruz, and Ara Mina. The icons of timelessness showcase stars such as Beauty Gonzalez, Regine Tolentino, Poc Wang, Claudine Barreto, and other celebrities whose style continues to stand the test of time. Meanwhile, the icons of legacy paid tributes to veteran performers, including Ami Austria, Jackie Lublanco, Gardo Verzosa, Epi Quizon, Eric Quizon, Roderick Paulate, and Carmi Martin, whose contributions continue to inspire the entertainment industry. Directed by veteran fashion director Robbie Carmona, the event blended fashion, entertainment, and luxury into one spectacular evening. According to Maddox Jewelry President, CEO, and founder Charo Cordial, the brand aims to make luxury more affordable while showcasing the beauty of Filipino craftsmanship through every piece of jewelry.
Sana time will come na maalala kami ng mga tao na pag sinabi mong Maddox, alam nilang alahas, alam nilang diamonds.
One of the night's standout personalities was veteran actor Roderick Paulate, whose runway appearance proved that true style and charisma never go out of fashion.
I'm very, very happy. It's different. I haven't done this for a long time. I mean, never pala. So I just enjoyed it, and I love the company.
Another crowd favorite was Claudine Barreto, who captivated the audience as she graced the runway in one of the show's most anticipated segments.
I think Maddox is all about making your dreams come true. Na libre lang mangarap. So kung mangangarap ka, lakihan nyo na.
The event once again highlighted the belief that true luxury is more than the brilliance of diamonds. It's about confidence, timeless style, and celebrating Filipino artistry. Sheila Salaysay, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The world stage just got a taste of Filipino talent. SB19 has etched its name in history as the first Filipino act to perform at Lollapalooza. In an expose, the P-pop kings described the moment as unforgettable, saying they hope they made an impact and are proud to have represented the Philippines on the global stage. Their set featured crowd favorites Dam and Gento, plus the live debut of Lawless. SB19 also teased, quote, "It won't be our last," promising fans that this historic performance is only the beginning. Back home, 18 celebrated the milestone at a watch party hosted by the Tourism Department, while the Rizal Monument lit up in honor of the group's achievement. Talk about Pinoy pride. Congrats, SB19. And that's the Midday Report. I'm Mai Rodriguez. See you again on Monday at 1 p.m. Stay informed, stay safe, and happy weekend.